Hello, hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to another episode of Teach Gen Tech. Today we have Nick here. And Nick, what are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about browser dev tools. We'll be looking at the browser dev tools in like a Chromium-based browser, but these tools also exist in Firefox as well. There's some dev tooling in Safari as well. It's not as feature-rich yet, from what I've seen, but if you have Firefox as well, we can take a peek at that if you want to too. But yeah, it's just gonna be there's so much in browser dev tooling, so it's going to kind of be like a whirlwind tour, but hopefully some of the things that we look at, they can be hopefully helpful to folks that are checking out the stream. There's just a lot of cool stuff you can do in it, and I've seen it happen multiple times when I'm either pairing with somebody or like in my virtual coffee community, I mentioned something and they're like, what, you can do that? And then it's like, so we're just going to take a peek under the hood of what browser dev tools can give us to help us be better devs potentially, or at least give us more tools to see kind of what's going on.
Yay! And thank you. And what up, Ben? What up,
Yeah,
homie? Uh,
Ben's
yes,
good people.
yes. And y'all, I'm pretty excited about this because I did not realize that I somehow have invited 3 Netlify people on my stream without realizing it. Like, they were all for very different reasons.
Yeah.
So, and the only person that's we're actually ended up talking about Netlify was Jason. So this
Yeah. Well, I
this
can give a
works.
shout out. Here you go.
Yay! Oh, that's cool. That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one. All right. So I know that we talked about doing the getting another browser. So let me, put
Yeah.
it on.
So yeah, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, you can just open up. I don't know what you use for your browser, whether it's Chrome or Edge, or I'm using a newer browser that's Chromium based called Arc. It's still kind of in uh, invite only mode. Who let the dogs out? There
Ma'am.
we go.
Ma'am. Okay. She needs to make an appearance. She is
All
back
right.
there being a very, very sassy pants. So
It's all
hopefully
good.
she doesn't decide to do that the entire stream. And hello, Jay.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Because I used to work at Dev2, like I was telling you before the stream, and I used to stream with my coworker Christina Gordon. She's working at AWS now, but she lives in Costa Rica, and her kids were always trying to break into her office during the stream. Uh, but also because she lives in Costa Rica, there's lots of animals there, including sloths. And then we had one stream, and she's like, sorry, I gotta go for like 5 minutes. There's a sloth in my driveway. So we took a sloth break. I filled in while she was gone, but just like all that says, like one of the reasons why I like streaming is because it's expected that it won't be perfect. Whether you're live coding or your audio goes off. Like, I know you've been streaming for a while now. I know when I first started streaming, like, I'm pretty extroverted, so I'm comfortable just talking to people and just, even though I can't see anybody aside yourself. But the things that would stress me out are like, is the audio working? Is the video working? Because like, I'm by no means an AV person, so I know
Yeah.
minimal stuff. And I remember in the early days of my streaming, like the audio is just not working and I had no idea. And I'm trying to, be all cool on stream. Yeah, just a minute. And so those are the things that stress me out. But I've got a lot of that stuff automated now. So, which we can talk on a tangent later about that if you want to, because I know you're
Yes.
interested in that stuff.
Like,
Um,
there was so much automation that Jason talked about. I'm like, dude, that is so cool. Yes, please,
yeah,
because that is definitely, and just for everybody listening and tuning in, because y'all know about it, and this is Nick's first time on the show. I run late for everything. And so, yes, today I ran late as normal, and I forgot my tea somewhere. I couldn't find it. So I was just like, you know what? We're just not going to worry about it. It's just not going to happen today. But
yeah,
all right, I have my browser, and the only bit of like browser console DevTools stuff that I've done that I
Mhm.
specifically remember is doing the with Quick when
Okay.
seeing just like the network side of things and how quickly it was
Okay, yeah.
loading.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, for sure.
but that was like my fifth stream, so I didn't know what I
Okay.
was doing. And
Yeah, yeah,
thank
no,
you,
all good.
Caitlin, for the follow. Yay.
Yeah.
Uh, so I know it's like, is it inspect
Yeah,
is
so
how
that's
you
how you
get
can
there?
start off. Yeah, I guess the Google main page is let's go to like an app. Well, this isn't a web page, but let's go to, I don't know, something like the Canva home or the Twitter or something, wherever you want to go. So like you did there, like we'll start off with some basics here just for folks who might be new to using the dev tools. So there's a few ways you can open them. You can do what you just did there, which was you right clicked and you said inspect, and then that inspects the current element that you've selected. There's also browser shortcuts you can use. You can do, if you're on a Mac, you can do Command Shift I, and that'll open up the browser dev tools. If you're on a non-Mac computer, Linux or Windows, you can do Control Shift I. Um, it might not be set up. Your mail shortcut might be set up to do that. It's possible. Yeah, I think you're
No.
set up with that for some reason. I think I might have turned that off on mine. But also depending on other shortcuts, you can use F12 to open it. If you don't have your F keys set up, because F12 by default on Mac is set to volume.
Yeah, I
But
was like, I don't think I have these. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, exactly. We can go look at that after, but because we're going to talk about debugging some JavaScript at some point, and it, using the F keys to debug through things like stepping through code is handy. You can use the UI as well, like clicking the play button or the next arrows and stuff. But yeah, so let's open up the browser dev tools again.
And y'all,
And
this is a big reason that I asked Nick to be on the stream is I hear this term debugging. Debugging. It's a thing. It is a thing. I don't know what it is.
yeah,
Because
so I mean,
in like general idea, I'm like, oh, you go find issues and try to fix them. I think that's what it means.
yeah. Well, yeah, the term debugging just means, I don't know. I've said this multiple times to people, but being a dev is like being a detective. You're just trying to crack the case. Like what's going on. So debugging is kind of like a set of skills, but there's actually something in terms of JavaScript, and not just JavaScript, but other languages too. Like you can have an actual debugger, which is something that allows you to go into the code. You can actually stop the program. You can see like what's the current state of things, like okay, what's this variable set to, and so on. We'll definitely get to that stuff too. But yeah, we're kind of ratchet it up a bit, I guess. We'll start off slow and then we'll just kind of dig into stuff. And there's so much stuff in here, like I was saying, so it's kind of going to be like a whirlwind tour. But if you do have like more questions outside of what we cover, definitely drop me a message or hit up Jenn after. I'm just dropping my website here. You can pretty much find me in all the places on there. um, and and I still don't know how I snagged that domain name, but that's another thing. um, but yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, can you zoom in the console,
Yeah.
Jen? So if you, yeah.
Let me kick the dog out really quick. BRB.
Yeah, no
BRB.
problem.
Yeah, come on.
um yeah, so brb. I don't know if is there a dog command. I don't know, Ryan. Let me see.
There is I don't know if it's a dog command or a Kiona command.
Okay. I
But
just have the
I feel
quick
like we should
chat
do it.
open.
Yeah, I feel like we should do a dog command. Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. It is. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking at the video of Twitch. I just have the pop out of the chat. So
Oh, yeah.
oh, I see
Um,
Anthony's here too.
okay, let me zoom in, maybe.
Yeah, like just command plus a few times if you want. Yeah,
There we go.
perfect. Okay, yeah, and you can make the dev tools the biggest part. So a few things before we even start looking at the dev tools. So I mentioned a few shortcuts, how you can open them. There's also settings. So if you click on the little cog icon at the top right, it's two to the left of the X. So there's a few things here. Some stuff's a little newer. It's been around for a while, I think, but you can do theming too. So like you can have custom themes with an extension, but if you go to the theme there, you can choose light or dark. I'm typically on dark, I think. Um, there's a few other things in here that are helpful too. Whenever I'm working on a website, um, in the past, I used to run into caching issues all the time because like you're editing something and you're not seeing the changes. So there's actually a very useful feature in the network on the right there. It's the fourth checkbox down. It says disable cache while the
Ooh.
dev tools are open. So what this does is if you don't have the dev tools open, your site's behaving with whatever normal caching. But if for some reason you just don't want the cache happening, you can have that checked off. And I have that on by default. There are times when I actually need to test if something's actually caching, so then I'll
Mhm.
uncheck it. But in general, I have that set. So there's a bunch of settings in here, but that's just one I like to have on. Um, oh, cool. Anthony started a new job in January. Awesome, man. You're gonna have to tell me
Yeah,
all
I
about
was
it.
like, it's you guys are popping over there, like chatting a lot. I'm excited because
Yeah,
and it's like
is
everybody that's been on the stream before hangs out with us often, so I'm excited. And
it's a
yay,
reunion chat.
me.
Yeah, congrats, Anthony. Okay, so all let's say there's like a ton of settings in here. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but that's one that I do like to have on. So we can go ahead and close that if you just click on the X on the top right there, and we'll go through some other basic things too. If you click on the three dots just to the left of the X in the top right of the Dev Tools, there's a three dots
3 dots.
icon.
I was like
Yeah,
I was thinking where it was. I'm like, you
yeah.
said words, it's not clicking what you said.
so so I typically like to have the browser dev tools at the bottom. I have a bigger screen, so you can do that. But if you click on those three dots again, there's many ways you can have them. You can even have it pop out. So if you click on the first one, which is the two squares, it pops it out in a separate window. Um, and this is just really a preference thing, you know. So like you might like it popped out, you might like it to the right, to the left. So it's just this is just kind of warming up with the dev tools, you know, just kind of showing you like how you can lay things out.
Yeah.
Um, okay, cool. So we've got that now. So now let's go into Canva. Like let's right click on what will you design today there, and just in the actual website. So like if you just right click inspect, it'll bring us to that element which is down there. So a few things to take a peek at. You'll see that it's using Flexbox. So it's got this little pill icon. It says Flex beside the div there at the bottom. And if you click on that, you're going to see all of a sudden it gives you this outline and shows you how the Flex is set up and stuff. So this could be handy if you're just trying to see like how things are laid out. We're going to talk more about the CSS stuff on the right there in a bit, but for now, if you go to the display flex, which you see in the first CSS class there, you're going to see there's like 6 little rectangles beside the word flex on the far right in the other panel.
Oh, you know
And
what? I'm gonna pause this really quick, and that's not what I meant to go to. But go to my website actually, because I
okay,
think
yeah.
that'll help me understand because the way Squarespace has stuff set up, and then also because we talked about wanting to build the website with like Netlify and stuff like that. That just kind of like
Okay.
seeing what some of the differences are and how
Yeah.
stuff is built. So that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, so you can and you can make your browser as big as you want there, and maybe zoom in the dev tools again just once. I think we'll see what people say in the chat there, but I think zooming it up one more will be good. Okay, so yeah, so let's inspect hello beautiful human there. So you're gonna see it's got the elements selected. Okay, you have one with flex there. Let's click on the flex one there, just like 4 above. Okay, so now if you look on the right there in the styles, if you make that panel on the right a little bigger, if you just stretch it out.
Brittany's saying maybe if I pop it out,
Yeah, sure.
it could make it a little easier. So give
Yeah,
me
sure, no
a
problem.
moment. Switch it up some. What is this fast scrolling thing that's not stopping?
It's a new feature. It shows you the full thing that's selected, I think.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awfully annoying.
So the website itself doesn't need to be that big, but we can stretch out the browser DevTools a bit bigger and maybe zoom in one more time in the browser DevTools. Yeah, if you just command. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so let's select that flex thing and
It was this one.
like you, yeah, so like you see, it's got a border and that can help you show what the layout is. But if you go into the bottom part, if you stretch up the bottom panel a little bit and find the CSS class that has that flex, it's one of the classes in here. I'm not sure which one. If you scroll down a bit, there's okay there. So page section where it says display flex in the CSS class there. It's the bottom CSS class in the panel. So you're gonna see beside display flex, you've got this little icon with 6 rectangles. So if you click on that, all of a sudden you can start. You like say you're new to Flex, or even if you already know Flex, you're just like it's not doing what I want to do. You can literally start clicking, and these are all the Flex properties for that particular class or that particular element that's using this class. And you can just start clicking on those things to say like, okay, what's it look like this? What if I change the column direction to, to a column, flex direction to column instead of row and stuff. And I think in this particular case, you only have one thing in there. But if you had something with more than one item, you would see these things happen. So you could see it like if it by default flex direction is row, so it would be one after the other, and it can wrap. But if you wanted to have flex direction column, they would be stacked kind of. So this is just like a handy little tool for you while you're in the browser to go like, okay, well, let me try this out and see what this looks like and stuff. And once you're like, okay, that looks good, you can actually highlight, you can select the entire CSS class there. Like if you just click and drag like the contents there, like even though they're checkboxes, if you highlight the whole thing, and then you could go ahead and paste that back into your stuff if you wanted to. So it's kind of like
sweet.
It's kind of like an in-place way to kind of have some fun with the CSS there to kind of figure out how you want to have things. You can also add new properties in there too. So like if you click in, yeah, exactly. So you could just I don't know. You could say,
I didn't
like,
mean to do that, and it did it.
It's AI. It's a GitHub Chrome pilot or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But you could, like, for example, you could say background dash color, and then you could say red, for example. And if you want to add the actual value, you just click tab once you're done. And then you could type red, or you've got a list already, so pick whatever. And you're going to see once you click out of there, it should change it depending where it is. You might have other stuff there's CSS specificity, so it might actually not do it. But basically, you can come in here and you can start editing the CSS that way too, which can be interesting. The other thing is we'll get back to inspecting the elements in a bit, but since we're in the CSS stuff here already, if you bring the DevTools back to focus here, so we have the styles. Like if you look in this panel, you'll see at the top it says styles, computed, layout, etc. So styles are what classes or what CSS rules and properties are there. But say you're like, okay, I set my page section color to paragraph medium color, that your variable there. You're like, why is that not showing up? So like, for example, let's see if we can add, let's see, what can we add? Well, let's go first to the computed tab, which is the one beside the styles. So here, there's a few things. You can kind of see the layout. So it shows you like the margin, the border, the padding, and then the actual content and stuff. But the thing that's important to note here is on the bottom, you're going to see all the CSS properties that are set on that particular element. And so like, say for example, the background color, which is some kind of reddish orange right now, you're like, why is it that color? You know, like I set my background color to blue or something. If you click on the arrow beside the background color on the left of it, it's going to open up a little details panel. Oh, sorry, not that arrow, but that arrow actually brings you to where it's actually set.
Okay,
So
but
that's also good too. But if you
this
click on the
one?
arrow beside it here, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you're like, so like say, because there's something called CSS specificity. So some things can override what you actually set because they're more important. So you're like, okay, why is my background color coral? And then when you open that, it shows you why it's that color and where it is, because you could have like two competing styles set, and for whatever reason one is winning over the other. And this is CSS specificity, if you folks want to Google that if you're not familiar with it, but I can drop a link to that if not. So this is a good way to see like, okay, this is the actual style for this particular element, and this is why these things are being set this way. And like you did with the little arrow before, if you click on page section, I believe it'll go to it again. Yeah, so it's got the arrow there. So
Okay,
it'll
so
bring you
there's
back
two
here.
different ways. That's cool.
Yeah. So what you could do is, so right now you see there's color in page section, and then you have another class, and then there's a section. And so you can see a couple things here. I'm trying to see if we can add something to just kind of demonstrate this, but you should be able to add just a style to the element. Like if you scroll up in that panel, okay, yeah, go right to the top. Okay, yeah, in element style. So element style is like, this is going to be something that's called inline style. So let's add a new property in here, and let's just say color is yellow or something. This is a terrible color. Well, yellow on black's pretty good for accessibility, but pick anything, honestly.
I was like trying to figure out why yellow wasn't there, and then I realized I was like, because I need to scroll.
Okay, yeah. And before we go back to check that, we can come back to it after. But you see how there's the little yellow square beside there. If you click on that, you can actually start selecting colors with a color palette. And these are all things that are built into the browser. These aren't browser extensions. This is native to the browser DevTools. So you can do that way, or you can actually put hex numbers in. You can also change it to, if you click on the two arrows there, not there. If you check that again and you click on the box, there's two little arrows there. Yeah.
Oh.
And then you can change it to RGB. Like these are just different color formats, depending on what you prefer. Hex is pretty common still, but RGB is used a lot too now. Cool. So, okay. All right. So what we've done here now, if we just click out of here, you're going to see that the color is set to some kind of teal or aquamarine. And we still have our color. If we scroll down in your page section CSS class, you're going to see color. Okay, right away you can see color is it's crossed out.
Oh, yeah, in page second. Yeah.
So this is because of CSS specificity. The style we set up top there when you added that aquamarine color, that's an inline style, and that takes precedence over a CSS class. So if we go to the computed now, like say you're like, why is my paragraph medium color not being picked up? Click on the color here, and you're going to see why now. If you click on the little arrow to the left of the color, you're going to see, oh, well, is it not opening? Okay, it's getting, or if you click on the arrow, oh, it's because there's no CSS class. Click on the arrow, and it's going to bring you to, and the reason why it's this color is because we've set it in line, and that's why the other one isn't set. So this can be helpful when you're having CSS specificity issues. It's very difficult to say that, specificity. I think Wes Boss, whenever he says it, he always calls it specificity, or anyways, it's like a running thing.
I'm
on
like,
the
I'll
syntax,
probably
but
butcher it, so I'm not even gonna try.
yeah, I'll let me just find real quick a link to CSS specificity, because there's some fun games, like there's Star Wars, a Star Wars reference, but I'll link to the actual MDN here that folks can check out
Oh, that's
if they want
cool.
to if they want to read up more on that. But basically there's rules. So like, and like inline style is usually the one that wins out on everything. There's also like, if you add a exclamation mark important on something, that can make it more important to you. There's a whole set of rules. But if you check out, yeah, it's a game, Brittany, that's right. But if you check out that MDN post I put in there, it'll explain it well. Okay, so yeah, so that's the kind of some neat stuff in there.
See it very quickly.
Okay, cool.
Go click the link. All right.
Cool. Now, if you come back to your website, so let's go, when you hover over one of your links, like your shit you don't want to talk about, does it change? Okay, it doesn't.
No.
Okay, you don't have a hover or anything. Okay. I'm trying to think if, okay, let's go to my site for a second. Not because I'm trying to promote it, just I know it has links that change. So.
.com?
Yeah. So if you hover, you don't click on the links, but if in the latest post there, if you hover over one, you're going to see it gives an underline. So say you're trying to figure out like, okay, I'm hovering on it and then I want to go to the DevTools. So like if you go to the DevTools now, like yeah, you can inspect it. You're like, okay, I'm in the, okay, that's one thing that's also different. If you pop out, you're going to have the DevTools.
We'll have so many. There. And what up, Jenn?
So one thing here is like, say I'm like, I want to see what the style is like when I hover over this thing, but you just went to go inspect the element and now you don't see my hover effect. So what you can do is that's selected now. If you click in the CSS styles panel to the far right, the fifth icon, the :HOV, which means hover, you can actually enable things. So you can, if you click on the hover, you'll see it's going to underline it. So you can actually debug or like change what your CSS styles look like for when you're hovering while you're in the DevTools, because of the nature of it, you're not hovering over it because you're in the DevTools. This allows you to say, hey, put it to hover mode so I can see what the styles look like, or if I want to tweak them and stuff. And you can do this for other element states too. So active is kind of like when somebody's in the process of clicking on something. So it's like the mouse is still held down, or a keyboard action's happening. If something gets focus, you can, if you click on the focus, it should give a focus ring, I believe. Yeah, you see it. So these are just interesting things to allow you to debug your CSS, which can be super helpful. So that's another panel in there. There's also, if you click on the .cls there, just to the side of it, you could add other classes to it. So I can't think of any at the moment, but if you wanted to add another CSS class in the CSS classes you have available, you could actually just start typing in one and it would add it to the HTML for that particular element. Cool. Okay, we can go ahead and close my website because we don't need to promote it. It's your stream, so let's get back to your website.
No, like yours. How did you build yours? What is everything built in? Maybe like talk me through, like if I were like, hey, you have a really cool site, I want to go build my site like your site.
Okay, cool. I do want to show one thing though. If you stretch the site out to make it a little bigger, it'll change. There you go. You get an alpaca.
Yeah.
So my site's built with 11D, which is a static site generator, but it also does server-side stuff now too. But I was using Gatsby a long time ago, and honestly, the only reason why I was using Gatsby, this was back in 2017, was I was doing React, and then I was at a job where I wasn't doing React, so I was like, even though it's not a good reason to make a website, a blog in React necessarily, I was just like, I'm just going to use it so I can just still keep learning React. But I didn't do much with it. And then it's had a few iterations. When I worked at Dev2, we had this integration with a company called StackBit. So you could actually write your blog posts on Dev2, and then the StackBit integration would actually deploy a site to Netlify. That's who they're partnering with. It's not just because I worked there. And at the time I had chosen a Gatsby template, and it would just basically update my posts and stuff. But then I got off that, and then I found 11D at some point. This is again before. Yeah, did somebody say 11D? Yeah, exactly, Ben.
Yeah, Ben, I
Uh,
totally went to go grab because look how cool Ben's is too. And
no,
Ben, I
Ben
did
has
not
a badass site. It's
like
super
I
cool.
did not realize this, but without meaning to, I apparently just wanted to channel my inner Ben and like have the same colors.
Yeah, no, I love Ben's site. It's just uh, I don't know about yourself. Like even though like I was telling you before, I was like the lead front end at Dev2 before, but I can take designs and I can do it. But I'm the same person that I'm not a designer, and I'm the kind of person that will spend a week trying to figure out what font I should use. Like that's me. But like if you give me something, I can definitely produce it.
Yeah,
But
like this is something that I'm like wanting to like I'm thinking about because I'm like, oh, I need to go build my site and so it can do automations because even as we're
yeah.
going through this, like we're talking about like how just to compare just something that I had a hard time figuring out that I want to make sure others see is especially with Jason's stream last week of saying like I am a developer. I built a
Yeah.
Squarespace site. There are plenty of people that don't know how to build a Squarespace site. Is the customizations that can be done and going through and even using the dev tools. That's why I was like, yes, let's stick to your site because in Squarespace, you can't do as much.
Oh, okay,
Where
gotcha.
with yours, like we were even already able to see a lot more. So,
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
oh, yeah, putting it in Figma first, yes. At least you do that. I just will try to start building.
I'm because you were asking about automation. I'm gonna drop a couple links that I wrote about for automating things. So let me just drop those. Give me 2 seconds here, because like I was saying, I do use 11D, and that should be both of them. Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Yay.
so I do use it. What's that?
Oh, I just said yay, thank you.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I do use 11D, and then uh, basically the StackBit integration with Dev2 got phased out. I don't know, I can't remember why, but I think I don't know, for whatever reason it got phased out. So like for about 2 months, I was literally copy pasting Markdown from Dev2 into like pages that I was creating by hand. And then 3 weeks before I started at Netlify, I was like, I have time off. I'm gonna automate this. So I finally wired it all up, and it's the first post I talk about that I dropped there. So I use the Dev2 API to pull in my posts, and then I generate the Markdown, and then it pushes to my GitHub repo where I host my site. Excuse me, and then that deploys to Netlify, and it just because that's all automated. Like when you have Netlify attached to a repository, it'll just deploy it as soon as you push stuff there.
That
And
is
then
just exciting. I was just
yeah,
like,
no,
there's
it's
so
super cool.
much that can be automated.
Yeah, no, and it honestly like it takes a while to get there. Like I was telling you before the stream, like even my own stream, like I have these silly things. Like I have an alpaca on my stream. It hides, it changes hats. You can move things on the screen. But when I first started streaming, it was literally my webcam in the corner of OBS, a black screen, and VS Code or a browser, and that was it. And it's like it's only been over time that you build these things up, and you also learn from other streamers like Jason Langsdorff, or just speaking to other streamers, like how do you do that, or like because I couldn't find a lot of stuff, and then so yeah, there's. But getting back to the automation, I'm pretty happy with my flow now because I'll write a blog post on Dev2, and then I have a GitHub action that fires every night at around 8 p.m. Eastern. And then it'll check, do I have any blog posts? If there are, or if a blog post was updated, it updates it. And then I have another GitHub action, or maybe it's the same GitHub action. It creates a pull request. And if all the checks pass for it, like it basically does a deploy preview of Netlify. If all of that passes, then it automatically merges itself. So I never have to do anything. So I'm pretty happy with the flow.
I
It's
definitely want to look into GitHub Actions sometimes. And also just in like the way that I like found out about what Jason was doing and what you're doing, I'm like, whoa, what if I have the schedule that's posted and
Yeah.
auto posts on all social media for me, so it's not me going, oh shit, I never scheduled that, and having to automate
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because the way that Jason was talking about that with Cloudify.
Oh, Cloudinary maybe for his
Cloudinary,
social.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was just like, dude.
yeah, because he generates social. I can't speak social images like so like the card you sent out with the picture of you and me. So that's what he's talking about, Cloudinary. So there's that part, and then I guess he's probably hooked up to like the Twitter API, LinkedIn, or where I think he only posts it to Twitter at the moment. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do, and once you get those things in place, you know, it's you also have to want to do it. Like I just hit a tipping point where I was like, I have enough time, I'm just going to do this, you know. And it's also interesting to do because you're learning stuff. Like even for my own stream, like I don't post to social media automatically. I do that by hand, but I have like my guest info on my stream, and that I used to do it manually, but it's happened a couple of streams where I forget to change the guest info, and so it's like it's this. Yes, we're here today with Jenn Juno, and then you know on the bottom it says you know John Doe from some other company. So I'm using Airtable now to pull in that data, and I'm actually using not to promote Netlify, but I'm using a Netlify Edge function, and it basically pulls in the data from Airtable, and then it renders the page with that information. So I never have to do anything. So now all I have to do is make sure that the Airtable has the proper information, and that's all I have to do. And that saves me time, and it also saves me from making mistakes. You know, and the same
Yes.
thing with like, I didn't have one for the longest time, but I have I have one of these now. I have I
Oh,
can't
hold on, let me
a
make
stream
sure.
deck.
Oh, I was gonna so you can put stream decks on tablets. So I got this tablet
Oh, cool.
to
Didn't know
work
that.
on some Android stuff. So I'm gonna put the stream deck on here, but I'm still super lost on OBS that I have not done this yet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say I saw in passing, yes, Anthony, we all just steal from each other. I 100% agree. That's kind of just like art
Yeah.
in general. Art in general is you like you literally just steal from each other and
Yeah.
recreate in your own way. But there was something else that you said that I was like, that is so cool. Oh, also of it auto generating in, I need to set up Netlify. And as a super, super side note, y'all, I have two mods that show up like all the time. Oh, sorry. Yes, I have ads set up. I wanted to see if it can make money. I'm still officially looking for a job. I have to go do it. But anyway,
Right. Stop talking. Jenn is looking for work. If you're hiring, hit her up. She's streaming all the time. I think you blog too. She got your website,
I
so
do
hit her
blog.
up.
I do. I do.
What are you looking to do? You trying to get back into DevRel, or you want to be an
Yes.
engineer,
Yes.
or okay,
I love
DevRel?
streaming and talking to people and working with people. It's always so much fun. And it's definitely something, yes, I want to get back into that and job hunting, but getting OBS set up to do all of these things, I'm like, that is like such a good way to finally look into getting more into like Netlify and building my own site instead of my laziness of Squarespace. I say laziness
Yeah.
because I didn't really know what to build with. And Jason, okay, Brittany, I'm really glad you're here because Jason asked me this last week, and Anthony, you're here. So like all like the like people that have been here for a long time. So I'm debating, should I build my new site in Nuxt because I emceed Nuxt Nation? And if I could do more stuff with Vue, like I'm gonna see if I could maybe be like the Vue MC for in Amsterdam. And I'm like, I feel like I just need to focus on a language, but I'm like, what if I just focus on that because that ended up
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, there's that. I'd also throw out there's Astro, and you can actually pick what view component what component library you want to use. So you could actually use Astro and write it all in Vue. That's another option. I'm not saying don't use Nuxt. I've never used Nuxt. I did one stream on Vue with my buddy Drew, but it wasn't Nuxt or anything. It was just like Vue out of the box. But I've heard good things about Nuxt, and I know Nuxt 3 is, I think it came out recently, and you can deploy that to the edge now too. I think that's stable. I'm not positive about that, but Brittany says it best. Just pick something, like it's kind of like when people are saying like I should start blogging, and then they'll be like, okay, but I got to build my site first, and then and then all of a sudden you're completely derailed. So it's like it's a separate thing. But like if you're gonna blog and like say you don't have a website set up right away, use something like Dev2, Hashnode, just start blogging, and then when you get around to it, bring that into your own site, or because they all have APIs, so you can bring in that stuff, or you can literally just copy paste it into your own site. But I would say probably go for something automated, just to make your life simpler over time. But honestly, just start writing. So like, it doesn't matter where you post it. Like Ryan's saying, he likes Hashnode. Obviously, I'm slightly biased towards Dev2 because I used to work there, but I post to Hashnode as well. You just get your content out there, and I think having your own site, like owning your own content, is super important as well. And you'll hear a lot of people say that. Yeah, Brittany uses Dev2. I know a bunch of the Netlify team has a Dev2.
Since Netlify people are here, and not what I meant to click. Jesus. Okay, that scared the bananas out of me.
Jeepers.
So this is a Hashnode thing, and I was like, dude, this is like the coolest thing ever, that it plays the article for you and it makes it more accessible. And I was just like, I want to do this.
Yeah, you could.
So, but can it only do it on Hashnode, or is it something like this is something that can be built for anything? This is, I think, where I get also paralyzed with. And Brittany says I can add that to my own site.
Yeah, so that's a built-in feature of Hashnode. But also, just a side note for if you're using a browser, a lot of them allow you to you can go into a reader view, but you can also play audio. Like on my phone's my camera right now, so I can't show it. But like I use the Edge browser on my phone, and I go for walks at night, and like I'll listen to podcasts and stuff. But sometimes if there's an article I want to read, you can actually just click play article. It's not even in the website. Like the browser itself allows you to read it. And then
I use I've done this a bit before, but I use Natural Reader, I think is what it's called.
Okay, that's an extension. I'm not positive if
for mobile too.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure if the desktop browsers have it built in. I feel like they do, but it's definitely on my mobile one. But this is a complete side note, and I think Ben Myers is still here. Playing a website to listen to it is when you're gonna feel the pain of somebody who has accessibility issues. If the website is not built correctly, it's gonna be like it'll start like I was listening to an article the other day, and like the first 3 minutes it was reading like so much irrelevant stuff, and then it finally got to the article. But so it's an aside, but basically it's really important to make your site accessible, and that's why there's people that trash talk HTML, saying it's not a real language and all that stuff, the haters on Twitter. But these are people typically that I think haven't put a lot of time into it. The people that say like HTML and JavaScript and CSS are easy. It's easy when you put like an alert, background color red and like a small piece of markup. But like to make really good websites, it takes a lot of effort, and that semantic HTML is really important there. That's why you always need like a main section. You want something called like a skip link, so that you don't have to necessarily go through like all the navigation. You can just use the skip link and it goes right to the main section and stuff. And I know we're not talking about DevTools at the moment, but it's an aside. But
yeah, like I feel like this is the fun part about streaming, is it is a very conversational, and y'all, half the people, and Nick, I feel like you're going to be like wrapped up into this too. You're just going to have to come on the show again.
Oh, yeah, that's
Um,
cool. Yeah.
'Cause, like, everybody here has almost everybody has been on the show multiple times, but, to the mods, thank you for all that you do because Ryan and, Homie, they set up all the clicky things, and
Okay.
then also also keeping the conversation going when we don't have anybody here. So,
Oh,
I
cool,
just wanna
cool.
say thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, shout out to mods. I know it's not easy. I worked in community like Dev2. Like Dev2 has about 1 million members now, like active members,
Oh,
and like
wow.
moderation is like it's huge. Like we have a lot of volunteers. I mean, there's a dedicated team too, but mo- moderation is not easy. Um, and you got to stick to your guns.
Yes,
But yeah, I was gonna say, Ben Myers shared a link to skip links from his blog. Definitely check everything Ben writes about accessibility. Well,
yes.
anything Ben writes is really good, but I definitely encourage you to check out the skip links. It's a super useful thing to add, and it's not that difficult, honestly. Um, and it's saying it's true that Anthony's saying it's true that the article was inspired by a random convo in a stream. Ah, cool.
I dig it. That's kinda like the best way to have it done. And yes, y'all, I sometimes I forget that my, when I don't share my screen, that it's not sharing. Um, there again, yes, everyone, because we did go down like a total rabbit hole, but, uh, going back to
Oh no,
just
it's all good.
taking a look at these sites is
Y-
they y'all just teach me so much, and it's about all of it, and also just on being able to think about accessibility because as you're developing a site, it's so important, and I feel like it does really go in a full circle because
Yeah.
to use DevTools, I'm guessing a lot of it is to check up on sites, and to build a site, you need to look at all of this. So
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
look
No, and it's a good segue to get us back here. We can even go to Ben's site. I really love the look of Ben's site.
okay.
And we can
We will
close
use
the
Ben's
dev
site.
tools. Yeah, if you go ahead and close the dev tools over there, just because it's going to open up a different one for Ben's site. And so if you just inspect anything here again,
What?
and we'll kind of,
It's like
uh,
doing a very random one. Whoa,
he's,
Ben, what did you
it,
do?
there's a CSS selector to allow when you select something. So I'm assuming I'm assuming they're changing the just the background color. It's a nice look versus the default. Um,
Okay,
but
that
yeah,
is
so if we
probably
go ahead
way too.
and yeah, so if we go ahead and inspect something again here, and we were talking about accessibility, and there you go. There's the accessibility panel too. This is something that uh, definitely accessibility experts and people who have been doing front end for a while probably know about. But for people that are new to web dev or even just the dev tools, let's go ahead and click on the accessibility panel here. So what this does is you're going to see this view here, and you're going to see like banner, and you see it says howdy, I'm Ben. So what's happening here is banner is a type of role for an HTML element. In this case, I believe it's an H1 that the howdy is, um, but you can see, okay, so this is important to see because like when a screen reader is reading, it's gonna say something like heading text howdy, I'm Ben, and then keep going on and stuff. So like this is super yeah, sorry, it's header, not H1, I think. Yeah. Oh, and thanks for dropping the accessibility tree too. Ben's my co-pilot today. So this is super important because when a screen reader is actually going through a site, so say you have a form, I don't know if Ben, do you have a form on your site, like a contact page or something that we can maybe look at? Or if not, we can just find some site with a.
Nope.
Okay, that's just regular. Okay, so we could go to let's just
I have
kind
a
of okay.
form.
Let's
I have a
okay.
form. Be a
All right.
guest.
Okay, so let's go here. Okay, now let's inspect here. You're gonna get another DevTools open. Okay, and let's go back to the accessibility tree here. And and let's have it so that let's shrink your browser a bit, but let's have it so we can still click on the form elements. And so let's inspect the first one that says where you have the placeholder text, Jenn Junode. Is it
Yeah.
Jenn Junode or Jenn Juno?
Jen Janod.
Janad.
Jano.
Okay. Okay.
Like it's almost like it's said so many different ways. I don't even care anymore.
But
But
what is the real way? Exactly. I'm always mindful of how you say somebody's name. So
well, since I started in the API world, there are many French humans, and it should said Janol.
okay,
And
t'es français?
no.
Okay. All right. So,
No.
okay.
And my mom says it Janad. So I just go
Okay.
with what she says. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
but eventually, yes, one day I will learn French. One day.
Okay.
One day.
Yeah. No. Well, I'm in Montreal, so it's bilingual, and I've been doing French since kindergarten, but yeah, there's a lot of French names in the States like that get Americanized. I don't know, like Leclerc or something. That's like
Mhm.
Leclerc in French and stuff. It's like they get rid of, I don't know, they just change them. But anyways, I just wanted to know how you said your name. That's all.
But did y'all know that avocado for Devril is because it's also like that in French? Is it's like very close? Let me see.
Yeah, it's avocat. Uh,
Yeah. So it sounds like
but
avocado.
yeah, you spell it like this. The funny thing about it is that means avocado, but it also means lawyer in French. I don't know if there's any joke there, but if there is, somebody make it. But yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
So we got the
okay, so
form.
let's
We got the
yeah.
form going.
Okay, so let's look at, we can see in your markup here. So you have a label element on the right there, and you have an input. And I can already see that you have a for attribute on the element. Like if you look in the dev tool, so it says label for equals some UID. It looks like UUID. And then that's the same ID as the input. So already this is good semantically, and it's accessible because the label is tied to the input. And so now, like when you go to the text box in the accessibility tree here, you see it's called name, and it's called name because the label's linked to it. And that's super important because if you're starting to read through, like the screen reader is reading through this, if the label's not linked to the input, it might say something like text box. I don't even know what it would say. I think it would just say text box empty string or something. I'm not sure. Ben can maybe let me know that. I'm not an accessibility expert, but basically it's super important to have these things tied together. And this is also important why can we hear
Nope.
that, or is
It
that
just
just
read
okay?
the everything but at least for this one version of it.
Okay. So yeah, so it's super important. So, and like we can even test this. So and this is another thing I'll show you in the dev tool. So if you go in the dev tools at the top right there for the label element, double click on where it says for equals quotations in the label element, and just double
Oh,
click on the number in there, the 913 EC whatever.
this one?
Uh, yeah, just delete that. So double click it and you can delete it. So there's two things here I'm going to show. One, you can edit the markup or attributes. So you can just like literally select it, delete it, and then click outside of the element, and it's gone now. Now let's click on the name input again. Like let's inspect it. And you see all of a sudden there's no more, you see it says generic. There's no label name. It's not connected to it anymore. So if a screen
Oh.
reader was coming through here, it's going to have no idea what it is. The text box says Jenn Juno because of the placeholder text. But basically a screen reader at this point has no idea what this field really is, or like it can't communicate to the person. So I just wanted to show the disconnect there, but also that you can actually edit the markup here. You can also change the whole thing. So if you right click on that form, for example, in the panels on the right, just the form element up top there, in the top part of the panel under the Elements tab.
Elements form, yes.
Yeah. So
And
right click. Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
bye, Brittany.
Oh hey, Caitlin. Caitlin's in my virtual coffee community,
Yay.
as well as Collab Lab, which is a place we volunteer at. Okay, so we can right click here and we can say edit HTML, or edit as HTML, sorry. And you can literally change this to whatever. So like do a Command A to delete it all. And then just, I don't know, put like a paragraph or just say hello or something.
Can I do an H1 always because I forget what paragraphs are?
Yeah, so there you go. Hello, beautiful humans, or human. And then if you click outside of that, you're going to see your page changes.
That was fun.
So, some of this stuff might not always be useful, because like if you're developing a site, like you're going to have fast reloading and stuff and so on. So like some of this stuff might not be super useful, but this is stuff you can do on live sites that you might not have access to if you're just trying to, you're just trying out things like what does the label look like if I put like a label that's 200 characters long or something, so you can kind of go in this. And another thing that we can do here now is if we go to the sources tab, which is the third tab, and you click on the two little arrows there beside page, and there's something called overrides. So let's go there and then just click on the select a folder for overrides. And for now, like in your downloads folder, just create a new folder. I don't know, call it whatever, potato, stream, I don't know, avocat, whatever.
Potato. It's going to be called potato.
My friend I use here as well. Okay, cool. So now we have this folder now. So now let's do something like let's inspect TeachGen Tech there, the word over on the left on your form, and let's inspect it. And let's go to the CSS, the styles tab, the one in the middle there on the left.
Why am I being super blind?
No, it's all good. To the left of that. So the
styles.
Yeah,
there we go.
So
and then the CLS.
let's add style to it in the element.style there. Let's just change the just below it where it says element.style. Click in there and let's just do color. Since it's black, we'll make it accessible. So let's just put it back to yellow again or something. Press enter. Okay, it's set. Now go ahead and refresh the page. Unless I'm talking out of my butt, it should keep it. Oh, why didn't it keep it? There's somewhere. What is it? There's the overrides allow you to save the changes, and I'm wondering why it didn't do it. Let's try that again. Let's go to sources again.
I was just wondering if it, like, if you click that button, if it would play nice.
Maybe it's
but no.
something else. Okay, so let's try it again.
Sources.
Oh, I think. Okay, and if you open that, it should be empty. I think that folder.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the Elements tab again, up top there. Let's go to Style again, and let's add that yellow again. Just say, sorry, color yellow. And then I think we need to save it. So just do Command S. I believe that'll do it. Okay. Now let's go back to. Oh, sorry. We gotta highlight the TeachGen Tech. Sorry, I think we were on the wrong one there. Yeah, there.
Is it?
We can do the whole thing. If not, you could, but just the TeachGen Tech if you want. And then let's go to the element.style again below there, and let's just do color yellow. And we're gonna just click Command S after we've added that. I believe that'll do it. Now let's go to the sources panel up top there again. Let's go to potato, and does it not have it? Weird. Why doesn't it have it? Okay, try. Why is it not finding it?
Oh, I don't know. I clicked something.
Oh, that's Grammarly. Oh, that's Grammarly. You can also decide.
Oh,
We haven't even looked at debugging yet, but you can actually debug and see source code of browser extensions too. Try refreshing the page. If it's not keeping it, I'm gonna drop a link to overrides because I'm clearly forgetting something. Um, but the main point of this is like you can alter the page and like refresh it and it keeps your changes. It's not permanent. It's just like in this kind of override state. And you could look at that after if you wanted to, if you needed to pull some stuff out.
and
Again,
bye, Ben.
yeah, later, Ben.
Um,
Okay.
Interesting.
Maybe I forgot something. Yeah, you specify a directory. Uh, hmm. I'm not sure. We don't need to dwell on it too much. Definitely take a read up on that again. I was doing it yesterday because I was just I was writing a list of stuff to go through for the stream, and I was like, why is that not working now? But anyways, the main point is you can alter the site you have it all saved in this like local overrides folder, and this can be useful. I was actually changing the Netlify site yesterday with this. So like when you go to netlify.com on my own computer, it was saying like, "What's up, Nick?" Like
Oh,
instead
that's
of
so
like,
fun.
you know,
Okay.
um, you know, there's obviously great tooling for frameworks there too. So like some of this stuff might not be as pertinent, but okay, cool. So we've looked at that. We're gonna kind of start looking at some JavaScript stuff now. So let's go back to the elements panel. And if you press the escape key, it's going to open up the console below, and you can drag that up a little bit.
Wow.
And you can drag those errors there aren't necessarily from your site. You can see errors there from like browser extensions and stuff.
Okay.
But let's clear that. So if you just click on the little Ghostbusters sign there, minus the ghost, and let's just drag the console down just a little bit. Okay, and let's drag the top part down a bit. I don't know if it's gonna keep both of it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So let's click on body there in the HTML up top.
Up top, top,
Uh,
top.
okay, cool. So we've clicked on it. Now you're gonna see if you look to the right of it, it says equals $0.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, so now if you come into your console down below, type in $0 and press enter. Just the bottom
Oh,
panel.
$0. Enter.
Okay. Yeah. So now,
Oh,
So
it
now if you
shows
press
it.
enter, it's a link. It's a reference to that element in the document object model, typically called the DOM. So you could do something like now you could actually modify stuff about this element in the console. So you could say, for example, $0. If you type in the console there for a sec, you could do $0. Dot class name, which is a reference to the class attribute, and you get autocomplete here too, and then just say
Oh,
equals, I don't know, like red or something. Yeah, you can just, if you press the up arrow and then equals red, which won't exist, I'm assuming. Oh, you'll have to put it, it's a text, so you'll have to put that in quotes, but
oh,
so just
equals.
equals quotes red or whatever, and it should change. Yeah, you see how the body's changed all of a sudden
Oh, yeah.
now, because one, class name red doesn't exist probably, so it's just this is whatever it is without dark mode. There's a lot of things you can do here, like because you can obviously change classes and stuff in the CSS portion of the DevTools, but you could do stuff like you could add a click to the body as well. And for some reason, the debugger's on. I'm not sure why, but if you click the plus, the play button up top there in the browser, it's gonna finish it. There's something, I'm not sure what's connecting to it. Just click play again. I wonder what it is. Weird. There's. I
Pause and
wonder if there's. I wonder if there's something in the site that's trying to debug. That's really weird. Okay, let's just refresh it. I don't know why the debuggers keeps going, but But basically what I wanted to mention about the $0 is if you keep selecting other elements, you'll have like $0, which is the most recent one. $1 becomes the previous one. And you can like basically have references to all these things and you can do stuff with them. You know, how valuable that is to you varies, but there's other things you can do in here. So you can do like, because it's the console, you can do stuff like you can type console.log hello or whatever, you know, which is not really that useful, but you can use this to also just check the state of certain things. And I'm still perplexed why your site keeps going into a debug mode for some reason, because
did I click something? I mean, knowing me, I could have clicked something.
It's possible, but it looks like there's something in the code that weird.
That one was for Notion forms, so I don't know if
okay, maybe there's something there. We can go ahead and close the browser tools, okay, cool.
Like
and
all
then
of
we can
these?
just and then we can just reopen it. We can go back to my site or to like Dev2 or wherever you had.
Let's go to Ben.
Okay, yeah, let's go to Ben. So let's go back and inspect
Ben's
again.
site.
Yeah, this is now an official Ben Myers appreciation stream.
Yeah, and they're no longer here, so won't even know about it.
Yeah. All right, so we can inspect in there again, literally anything. All right. So yeah, so now if you click dollars, type in $0 in the console again, you're gonna get a reference to it. Okay, so now let's just do something. You know, some of these things aren't necessarily useful, like the exact thing I'm showing you here, but it's just to show you that you can modify the JavaScript, you can interact with it. So we can do $0 dot add event listener. And if you're used to frameworks, if you have like in React on click, this is under the hood, this is really what it's doing. So we're gonna say add event listener, and then we're gonna
cool.
if you just click the up arrow, it's a native function. So we're gonna do parentheses, and then we're gonna do quotes click, type the word click, sorry, and then close the quotes, and then comma, and then we're just gonna put a function. So we can do like a open close parentheses, and then do equals, and then a greater than symbol, and sorry, yeah, the other way.
The other way. You probably said it right. Doesn't mean
right. And then let's just do something silly, like let's just say alert, hello, beautiful human.
And then it would be in.
Oh, it's a function, so you'll put it in parentheses. Sorry. Or we can put potato or whatever.
I always put hello, beautiful human, but you might see me putting potato more often now because I grew up in Idaho. So
okay.
The
gotcha.
land of potatoes.
I always use potato for some reason. And then let's close parentheses one more time. Let's press enter. Okay, so now it's going to return, console logs undefined, and that's because typing out that code returns nothing. But click on the header now, the howdy, I'm Ben. Sorry, on the actual website.
Okay.
And you see, so you can start doing stuff like that, and this can be interesting if you want to just test stuff or like so on. So that's one thing. We haven't even looked at the debugger really yet, but let's.
I mean, we only have 20 more minutes, so I'm down if you're like, this is a good breaking point. I'm down to have you on the show again. I think that like a lot of this is also just sharing knowledge, and we got to do that a lot with like everybody on the stream earlier and using best practices. So I'm down for whatever you're up to. You're the one who knows all the knowledge.
Well, I'll definitely say I don't know everything, and anybody that tells you they know everything they definitely don't.
Yeah, I'm like, it's bullshit. It's bull.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the debugger. So let's actually create a web page. So let's go back. let's open up VS Code and like you said your current site's using Squarespace, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we won't use that because just because we just kind of want to build something out here. We can even okay. So so you did the edge function with JSON last time.
Hmm.
Um, we won't necessarily debug that, but what we can do is let's go to your index.html file there. If we have time, we could debug that, but I don't think we'll have time. So in a web page, you can actually have a style tag in there. You can also have a script tag. The script tag allows you to write JavaScript. The style tag allows you to add CSS. A lot of times you'll see in frameworks and stuff, they pull these things out, like the scripts are all separate. There's a bunch of them. But for the purpose of just showing how the debugger works, we're just going to add a script tag. So right under line 13, let's add a script tag. So just literally just script for the script tag. Yeah, sorry, with the,
Right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, why can I not spell today? Script.
Uh,
There we go. Script tag. I'm gonna
okay,
get
cool.
there, y'all.
All right, so you already have this site running. I think you ran it locally with JSON last time. Okay, so in the script, let's just add something like, let's press enter so we just have a bit more room here. And let's just type console.log, let's go with potato because I like that word and you're from Idaho. So, okay, cool. Let's save that. Now let's open up your integrated terminal or whatever you used for your terminal, and we can just run ntl dev. Just make sure you're in that folder of that project, wherever that is.
Why do I
Thanks
not?
for the
It's not print.
thanks for the kind words, IU, but I definitely don't know everything.
Make this giant. CV desktop.
Cool. I can't remember. Are you on East Coast as well, or?
No, I'm on Mountain. I'm in Denver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and then what is it to run again? It's
Oh yeah, so you can type in netlify, or most of us at work we use NTL, which is the short format, and then space, and then you just type dev. So this will run the netlify CLI in development mode. And the stuff I'm about to show you has nothing to do with the netlify CLI. It's just you already have a netlify project set up. That's the only reason why I'm saying use it. Okay, so let's open up the DevTools again.
let me
It'll
close
be a
this
different
other
one.
one just so that way I don't get them mixed up.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Ah.
Okay, so let's inspect. And let's go to this. Let's look in the, if we refresh the page, we should see our console log. Did we save it?
I thought I did.
Oh, you have that. No, it's your detector thing still debugging for some reason. Do you mind closing that file? I don't even know what that is. And it's so weird that it keeps going. Yeah, you'll have to click play in there on the blue plate. What? I have no idea what that is. If you click on it, okay, it stopped. Okay, so now let's just look in the, that was actually showing you the debugger in action because it actually stopped, but I have no idea what that is. But let's, okay, yeah, there's something, I don't know what the,
It's a
do you have some
I will tell
NR?
you, my extensions like to break things. So let me see if I can get.
Okay, you know what? Let's do this. Don't remove anything. Let's do Command Shift N. It's gonna open up an incognito window because I don't want to mess up your setup or anything.
Why? What are you doing, computer?
Is that an incognito? Because it's usually a different color.
Yeah. I'll just.
Or worst case, just click in the Chrome menu up top.
I was like,
there.
I'm just gonna go this way. I don't know what it's doing.
Okay. So there's no extensions here now. Okay.
There we go.
Cool. All right, and let's open. Yeah, we can close that, and let's just open up the DevTools for here. And a side
Wait,
note, but if you're
I hit view page source instead of inspect.
oh, okay. All right, so okay, already this is working better. A side note, if you ever run Lighthouse, because there's a Lighthouse tab in the DevTools, and this will give you like a score, like performance, accessibility, and all that. Always do it in an incognito window because you won't have your browser extensions there because they can actually affect the Lighthouse score.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's just a side note. But okay, so let's look in the DevTools here now. We're gonna see that it console log potato. Okay, so we're in a good spot here. Okay, so now let's go up into the sources there, and let's go to page, the one just to the left of overrides, and let's click on the index there. Okay, so this is our actual page that got rendered. Normally you would have JavaScript files too, but I'm trying to keep it simple for now. So if you click on the number just to the left of the number 15, it's gonna add a little red dot, like literally in the gutter there where the number 15 is.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna add this. It looks like a little kind of bookmark. This is called a breakpoint. So now let's refresh the page.
Let me move it.
So you can do Command R or just however you want to do it. Okay, so you can see here it's actually stopped the program. You see how it says pause in debugger? And then now if you click play, so it's literally paused your program, whatever's going on, and then now it's going to run and it says potato. There's not that much stuff useful with the console log, but that's just the starting point. So now let's go back to our web page in the VS Code. Cool. And let's add something else in here. Like let's add a function. So in the script tag area, we can still leave the console log. It's okay. Let's create a function. So just literally the word function and then space, and let's, I don't know, like hello. And then we'll open parentheses and we'll give it it'll take a parameter. So something that it can accept as input. So let's just say text. So this is, and then sorry, it's going to be just it's a variable name here. So,
Yeah,
or not variable, parameter, sorry. Okay, and then let's open up squiggly brackets. Don't worry about the formatting. It like prettier is not happening or anything. It's okay. And let's just type, we could do document.body.inner HTML. I'll explain what this is if you're not familiar. And then we're going to say plus equals. And let's put quotes now because we're going to be adding text here. Yeah, and then let's just say hello. And then after, or we won't even use potato. Let's just say hello with a space. Yeah. We can use something else called a template string, but I won't bother with that for now. So after the hello, just put a little space before the quote. And then after the quote, let's add a plus, and then we're going to say text. I guess we could have called text name, but let's just go with that. Okay, so what this function does is it finds the body element on the page, and the inner HTML is literally all the HTML within the body tag. And it's gonna, the plus equal means it's gonna add to the end of it the words hello plus whatever the text is. So that's the function we're gonna have. And then after line 18, let's press enter. And just to make this a little more interactive, we're gonna do something like document.body, and we're gonna do add event listener again like we did before. And you should get some IntelliSense here because you're in VS Code. So sorry, dot add event listener. And then we're going to do the same thing. So parentheses, and we're going to do quotes click. And then we're going to add a function after. So we're going to, sorry, not function, the word, still in the add event listener. After the click quote, we're going to put comma. And then we're going to say, let's do open parentheses, close parentheses, and then equals, and then the greater than. And then let's just say hello, which is our function we created up there. And let's just say Jenn or something in parentheses, and it has to be in quotes because it's text we're adding. So at this point, we're going to be calling the function. Okay, so let's save that. And now let's go back to the browser. And let's go to the browser DevTools. We should still have that open too.
Yeah, I need a refresh, right?
Let
me save this.
Let's give a refresh.
Refresh.
Okay, so let's remove that breakpoint there. So if you click on this, yeah, exactly. But let's add one on line 4. So if you go down below there in the JavaScript, just click on, or sorry, line 17. Okay, so now, so if just looking at the code, just to explain, if we click on the body of, so basically anywhere on the page, and a click happens, it's going to call hello Jenn. So let's click on the page. Okay, so now you're going to see what's happened here is the click did actually happen, but now we're using our debugging tools. So this is the JavaScript debugger that we're looking at right now. And you can see right up top there, I don't think you can zoom it in because it's part of the browser, but it says paused in debugger. And now if you click the play button, go ahead, you're going to see it adds hello Jenn to the rest of the page. This is a trivial example, but let's click again. It's going to stop here again. Now let's make the browser DevTools a little bigger. Like we can hide the web page for a second here. Like we can give the full screen to the browser DevTools. And I know we're close to time here, so we'll just kind of touch on this today, and definitely happy to come back on again if you want to. But so there's a lot of things that we have available to us here. So first thing is, if you hover over things like in the middle panel there, you get information about it. So like when you hover over document, that's the whole document, which is literally the entire web page, and you have information about it there that you can look through. Same thing if you hover on the if hovering over body won't, because it's document.body. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
But there's some interesting things you can see here already. So like on line 16 where it says function hello text, you can see that the value that you put in the click there, Jenn, it's showing up to the right there. It says text equals Jenn. And so like all of a sudden you're getting all this information that's helpful to you in the context of, like, say you have a bug, like, oh, why is it always, when I click, why does it always say Jenn? It should be saying Nick in some cases, and like, again, this is a trivial example, but you're like, oh, well, it's because I set it to Jenn. That's why it's not working. Okay, problem solved, sure. But there's other information you can see here. So the first thing is breakpoints. So it's telling you all the places where you have breakpoints, because you can have multiple of them. Like if you click on the console log, exactly, you can click in a few places. The other things that are interesting is if we close the console for a second, on the bottom right there, just click on the X, just so we have a bit more room. You're going to see there's a bit more information too on the right there. So there's a scope section, and you can see it says local and like this window and so on, and text Jenn. So basically it's giving you all the information. This in this point here means the entire browser window. There's a whole thing if you want to read up on JavaScript and this keyword. And I can link to some of that stuff, but basically you're getting all the information about the current like context you're in. Like I clicked on this thing, I can see that text is Jenn, and then there's some global information too, which is related to the whole thing. So like, for example, on global, there's the alert function. So like alert, like if you say alert hello or something and so on. We don't have anything too complex here right now, so there's not a lot of information there, but this can be helpful. The other thing is there's this watch panel up top there, just under the paused on breakpoint. Let's open that, and let's just click on the plus sign on the right there, and let's just type in the word text and press enter. And all of a sudden you're going to be like, okay, I can like save some things on the right here, I could add other things. So like, maybe you want to test something. So if you click on the plus again, you could say text plus,
Goodness.
I don't. Oh yeah, so no worries. You can say text plus, hello or something in quotes. Uh, Again, these are trivial examples, but it basically you can start having some stuff like, hey, I want to see some things here. Just have them on my sidebar so I can see. Because what could happen is, say, like maybe you happen to be looping through something and like text changes all the time. So like, what does it look like when text plus this other thing happens, and so on. And basically, there's a bunch of stuff you can put in there. There's some more stuff in here that's potentially advanced for a beginner, potentially, but there's this thing called the call stack, which is something good to learn about. But it's literally like, you can see there's a blue arrow right now and it's pointing to the hello, and that's because we're in the function hello. And then before that, it says there was anonymous, and the anonymous is actually the function where we're calling hello. If you click on it, and it shows you where it is. And this can be helpful if you're like, where is it? Like, how did I end up at this function? And the call stack can actually show you where it came from, like where it originated. You can basically like think Hansel and Gretel, follow the breadcrumb trail back to like, so, and there's a lot more things you can do in here, but I know we're close to time, and I actually do have a hard stop at 1:30 because I forgot I have a one-on-one at 1:30. But this is, like I said, it was kind of like a whirlwind tour of the developer tools in the browser. And all these things I showed you here today, they all exist in Firefox. In Safari, they have similar stuff, but it's not as they're not as far ahead as Chrome and Firefox in terms of dev tools. Still, they're getting a lot better. But I just thought this would just be interesting to just kind of give, it's not too shallow a dive into things, but because there's honestly so much stuff in here, and like we could deep dive on one particular thing and probably spend at least an hour, so it's really just kind of to give like, here's an overview of like a lot of things you could use in the dev tool. So hopefully folks have found that helpful.
I will say, yeah, like it's definitely helpful and something that I think would assist going forward. And also like seeing that you were on like Anthony's channel and like you went into much more detail on those. It's like, it's such a wide topic. That's why Ben's been on the show so much. So
yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say about it is like, for folks that have been doing, who might be new to Node.js, or even something like Dino, which is from the creator of Node.js. We use this at Netlify for our edge functions. I don't know, I think Jason mentioned that on your stream. But you can actually use the browser tools, like how we were debugging there. You can actually debug backend JavaScript code in the browser as well, using literally the same tools. And the other thing we definitely didn't have time to look into is in VS Code, all those tools for debugging, we can actually do those in VS Code as well. Which is another thing we could look at another time if you wanted to, or we can honestly even talk about something completely different, automation, OBS, who knows.
I feel like automation would be such a cool one to talk about, but y'all, I know that Nick has a hard stop, so I'm going to start the raid really quick, just so that way. Yes, VS Code debugging. Nick is just gonna, come on the stream. He didn't know that you were gonna get, volunteered to go. But all right, y'all. I am rating you now, and thank you everyone that has showed up today. Let us know questions, and let me hit end.